gratefulness stuff, it kind of takes you out of the being upset. I heard somewhere that you can't be upset and grateful at the same time.
It's true,
Like
which is
it just
something.
doesn't work.
It's something that I've come to realize more. Like I was telling you, there's times that I'm like, man, I'm having a shit morning for whatever reason. The workout was crap. The wife and I were having issues. The kid pissed me off the night before. Whatever the case may be, work stressful. It doesn't matter. But as soon as you can flip that switch and say, hey, I am grateful for this, 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 and this, whether even if it's simple stuff. I'm grateful I have a job, even though it's making me mad. I'm grateful for, that I still have a wife, even though we might have been fighting, or the kids, whatever. Your mindset starts to change and you start to feel happier almost instantly.
Exactly.
You're like, all right, I can handle this. I can deal with this. I can deal with that. I can deal with that because I'm grateful I still have those in my life.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Round Table. I'm here with my brother Dustin. What's up, homie?
What's going on, man?
Just chilling, dog. We just caught up real quick. It's been a hell of a loss. But I think we saw each other, what? It's been a week. It's been weird. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Because you went camping for Easter.
Yeah. It was good, man. It was cold. Rainy.
I heard.
But it was a fun time, man.
I heard it was wet, cold, rainy.
Camry got that Jeep out. Fuck, dog.
I rode in that thing for a minute, so I can only imagine.
Well, you were talking about when you took your kids to Disneyland and that excitement and that look. Oh man, she had that look in her eye, bro. She was just like, when I tell you that vehicle got the most smiles out of any side by side, motorcycle, anything that was out there. Adults were riding it. She was riding it. She was taking adults on rides. I look over, her and her cousin Rory are in the back behind us, and they like found this little like tiny, mountain-made ramp, and they were freaking launching off that thing, and all I see is, and Gary's like, I gotta go over there and tell her to take it a little bit easy, because she was, you know how it is when
they just get excited.
Well, you start riding. I don't know. I mean, wasn't huge on four-wheelers and stuff like that, but when I started getting into, you start getting like, this is easy. You start doing shit that you usually wouldn't do, and it was fun, man. Watching her just enjoy life out there in a little Jeep, riding around, and
well, that's what Grandpa bought it for.
It was awesome, man. It was such a good time. It was cold and all that stuff, but at the same time, like, it was nice to just get out and get away for a couple of days. So
yeah, some fresh air, some not worry about anything.
Yep. The dunes were empty. Like, usually, people start going out that way, but there was nobody.
Dang.
Nobody. So, but it was good. It was fun, man.
I think the weather kept a lot of people away this year because they expected. I know at the sand dunes they expected double what they normally have, and most people that I talked to are like, no, it's the same as it normally is.
Right.
Not much different. So
I've still never been out there, but I heard they're fun.
They're a blast. We'll have to go.
Yeah. But overall, good. It was good. You guys have had a hell of a week too.
Yeah, it's been a week.
Yeah.
That got nothing accomplished this week. Just spent the whole week looking for our cat. So
we'll find her. She'll come up.
Yeah, between driving around and wandering around and visiting shelters and flyers, yeah, it's been a hell of a week. So we'll get there though.
Yeah, you guys will get her figured out. Yeah. You guys will find her and all that shit. So, but yeah, man, let's.
It works into this week's topic of gratitude though. Makes you realize how grateful you are for what's around when it's not around.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. That's true. That's the topic this week, gratitude. So we're trying to talk about the things that we do, right? I think.
Yep.
I know I'm not the best at practicing gratitude. I think I was better when I was younger, and I don't like journal. It's like these subtle moments that I think about things. I don't know about you. Do you journal or do you just?
So if I'm writing a journal, it's just to get thoughts out of my head that are driving me crazy, and something the therapists that I've worked with have said, hey, if If it's a continuous thought, write it down. Helps get some of your thoughts out of your head, which I'm once again grateful that I've started to learn some of these things. But gratitude, no, I'm never like, oh, this is what I'm grateful for right now. I'll, if I'm having a really rough day, a really, rough night, rough morning, there are times where, I might, start, send my wife a message, this is going on, but then follow it up with like, instead of feeling this way, I'm going to feel grateful for these things today. So that's been something I've been trying to do, or when we sit down with the girls, hey, what are you grateful for? Like, sit down on a Sunday for dinner, and we'll be like, what are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for the week, or whatever it is, just to hear what they have to say, instead of sitting there being down about whatever's going on. They can't play tablet, TV, whatever hell shit they're bugged by.
Yeah.
What are you grateful for? And it's cute to hear what they say. It's always like weird stuff like candy.
Yeah. It's always the things you don't think that they would even care about. And they're like, oh, you're grateful for, like a piece of candy,
or grateful for school, or like my friend, like with stuff like that. So it's cool to hear that. That's been fun to do more lately, ask them what they're grateful for.
No, it's cool.
So
that's it. Yeah, we did something like that when Gamry was a little younger. We'd be like, she was struggling a lot with kind of, being the only child, and she's, sometimes you get it, you grow up, I'm not rich or any by any means yet, but she's got a good lifestyle, she's got good things, and really hasn't ever had to worry about anything. So, I wanted to her to kind of realize the things that she's got her available to her. So I'm like, we started this like family gratitude similar to that, where we would just ask her like, hey, I'm grateful for X, and then she would say it, and then Tay would say it, and we would just go around. Usually we do it when we're driving or something like that. And I feel like it helped her a lot, to kind of understand like what certain things are like she should be grateful for, because we would say certain things like, oh, I'm grateful that, that we have our house is warm,
Yeah.
I'm grateful that we have, lights are turned on in our house. And then so she started asking the question like, why would you be grateful for that? Well, some people don't have the ability, sometimes you got to push bills back, or I'm happy that we have a car. Well, doesn't everybody know? Like,
yep.
Some people don't have cars. Some people have to walk everywhere, bike where they're going, take the bus. And it just helps them start like understanding that all the stuff that we have isn't necessarily a given. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we try to tell our kids all the time that they should be grateful they have some of the things they have. When they're starting to throw a fit about their tablet or the TV, it's like, you got to realize that not everybody has the privileges you have. Your mom and dad work hard to give you the things that you have, all the food, the clothes, the shelter, the warmth, the toys. We work hard among other people that work hard to help provide these things to you so that you have all this stuff. You should be grateful for that, not act the way you do.
Right. Do you feel like you did you have like practice a lot of gratitude when you were younger?
No, absolutely not. I never. It was never talked about. Maybe that at Thanksgiving. Oh, what are you thankful for? Or, I was always taught to say, my please and thank you. Like that was, but that wasn't ever brought to by gratitude, I guess. It was just, oh, that's why I'm supposed to say thank you for this gift, or I'm supposed to say thank you. Like
more like an auto response type of thing.
Okay. Yeah. But the older I get, the more I realize as you start working harder, building all this stuff. You're like, okay, well, I'm grateful for this lesson I learned. I'm grateful for the chance to be able to do this, to, go to the gym, to go on walks, to, you don't realize how much stuff you really can be grateful for or should be grateful for until, honestly, some of it till it's taken away from you.
Yeah. A lot of the times that's what it is.
Yeah, you realize how grateful you are for all the times you had, like with the passing of my dog, you realize how grateful all the times you had with him, all the love that he gave you, that even when you didn't think you deserved it, or, There is some negatives that you start to think about, but you got to start remembering, you're grateful for the times you had, not the times that you guys may not have gave him the love that he needed or whatever. You can't look like that.
Right.
You gotta just be grateful you had him for as long as you did, and the times, or who, even a person, not necessarily an animal, a person, you gotta be grateful for the time you gotta spend with them.
Yeah. Every day's a blessing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think no, that's a good point. I think definitely when something's taken away from you, that's something that you feel like, you really start take because you can't take it for granted at that point anymore. So you're just like, oh well, it was nice to, in your situation with the pup, and that it was a big part of your life. So it's like it's hard when they're not there anymore, and you don't have it was nice when he would cuddle up or the silly things, right? I don't know. I don't have a dog, but I'm sure there was little subtle things that maybe were like, oh, like I remember you do this.
We actually went down that rabbit hole yesterday a little bit, talking about some things with him, and then our cat's missing, so we were talking about things with her too. So this brought up a thought. There's something that, and I believe, and I'm pretty positive it's Ed Milet, says that he's grateful for the. Maybe it wasn't him now that I think back, but somebody said they were grateful for the heartbeats that were given to them during their speech. And I'm pretty sure it was Ed Milet at the Limitless event.
Okay.
Was talking about how you're never going to get those heartbeats back.
Mm-hmm.
So you're grateful for them being given to you, the breaths and the heartbeats, because that next heartbeat, that next breath is not a given. So you need to be grateful for what you have right now.
Right.
Which is something a lot of people fail to do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think
I was one of them.
Yeah, we do. The problem is, I think a lot of the times is we're just so caught up with everything that's going on, right? We're very privileged. So let's just be honest, in America in general, right?
Complacency.
Complacency. And we started, we try to watch like a lot of things. One of my biggest things is try to actually get out there and travel to certain regions where it's not as, like you see it in TV. Yeah, it's very impactful, but something about being there and feeling that energy and seeing how people live sometimes can get you that perspective to say, wow, like, maybe it isn't as bad. I think, what do they say? Like airports are some of the biggest, negative or people, the biggest complaining happens during, but it's like, if you look at it, I mean, back in the days, they didn't have that. This is a luxury, to be honest with you. There's difficult parts. You got to go through certain things, but if you really look at it, God, we're like, it's such third world problems. Like we're complaining about being in an air conditioned airplane with food and where sometimes the lines are long and all these different things, but it's still a luxury. We're in a heated control airport with security everywhere. More than likely nothing's gonna happen, and all these things that they're gonna give us food. They're gonna you can go get a Starbucks. You can go in a lounge. You can do all these different things, and yet we still find a way to complain and not be like, wow, it's such a blessing that I have the money to afford to be able to fly, or the ability that we even get the opportunity to fly. It's crazy, but
right. So that kind of reminds me of when the wife and I flew to Florida, because we got through security to get a delay notice, and it wasn't like a 30, 40, 50-minute delay. It was like a 4-hour delay or something like that, 4 or 5 hour delay. And we're like, and she's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I'm like, the only thing we can do right now is go talk to the gate attendant. That's the only thing we can do. If we leave the airport now, we'll never know what's going on. So let's just go talk to the gate attendant. We don't have our kids. It's just us. We've got books. We've got our tablets. We've got, well, we don't have tablets, but we got our books. We got our phones. We've got music. We've got podcasts. We'll be fine. We'll figure something out. If we have to, we'll wander around the airport. We'll go get some breakfast, whatever. And she's having a hard time. And I'm like, hey, go talk to the gate attendant. And I'm thinking to myself when I'm standing in line, because we were talking, I was like, we're the third person in line here. So right now we haven't got to the people that are gonna lose their absolute mind on these people for this delay, which they have nothing to do. And granted, I was like a little frustrated because I'm like, we gotta get to Dallas. Like, we gotta get to.
You guys are on a time crunch.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, it was more like we got to get to Florida. Like, we have rooms and stuff paid for. All this stuff's paid for in Florida. Like, unless you're giving me money back for that, like, yeah, like, I'm grateful you're trying to get me there, but I have money on the line in Florida right now. Like, I really want to get there because, one of his things, and as much as I was trying to be nice and calm to him because I am grateful and I understand he's just doing his job. There's not much he can do. He was the way he responded to me took a lot of my gratefulness away pretty quickly. And that's something that I could have still changed, tried to be a little bit nice. I mean, I definitely wasn't the complete asshole I could be, but
right.
I was still nice to him because I was still grateful he was trying to figure out a solution, but the solution wasn't to stay a night in Dallas for us. I'm like, unless the airlines were giving me more money back. But, I was still grateful he was trying. And you got to be grateful that those people are doing the jobs. You're on a luxury, like you said. You're able to take this flight and do this stuff. You still got to be grateful they're just doing their jobs. And be grateful that they're trying to make sure your travel day is as seamless as possible, no matter what delays come up.
Yeah.
Luckily, it all worked out, and we were grateful that we stayed at the airport, that we, at this point, we were grateful our kids were with their grandma and at home playing, having fun, and not with us stuck in an airport with not much to do. So that was nice. We were grateful for all of those things, and then your absence, same thing. You're got to be grateful when you come home to see these smiling faces and the love that you get from them when you come home.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point, right? I mean, that just goes to show you too, right? The importance and the power of gratitude. So, in that situation, yeah, you could have totally, it would have been warranted, right, to be upset because you're losing money, right? We work hard for this. It's not something, but you start using that gratitude, be like, well, I'm grateful for that. We have everything we need. We have not AirPods, or we do AirPods, but I was gonna say iPods. We don't have iPods
We're
anymore.
going old school.
You have your phones that has Spotify and iTunes, and you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to music. You had headphones, you have a book. Your kids are, taken care of. You don't have to worry about, they're with us and they're freaking out and all this stuff. So you start thinking of this gratefulness stuff. It kind of takes you out of the being upset. I heard somewhere that you can't be upset and grateful at the same time.
It's true.
Like,
which is something.
It just doesn't work.
It's something that I've come to realize more. Like I was telling you, there's times that I'm like, man, I'm having a shit morning for whatever reason. The workout was crap, The wife and I were having issues. The kid pissed me off the night before. Whatever the case may be, work, stressful, it doesn't matter. But as soon as you can flip that switch and say, hey, I am grateful for this, and this, even if it's simple stuff. I'm grateful I have a job, even though it's making me mad. I'm grateful for, that I still have a wife, even though we might have been fighting, or the kids, whatever. Your mindset starts to change and you start to feel happier almost instantly. Exactly. You're like, all right, I can handle this. I can deal with this. I can deal with that. I can deal with that because I'm grateful I still have those in my life.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, I think we use that all the time. I try to use that to be honest, when I'm upset at Taylor or something like that. So we're in an argument. I'll try to use that, be like, oh, I'm grateful that she could be meaner to me, or I'm grateful that she's stuck around, or just little things like that. I'm grateful she's a good person. She's got a big heart. All these little different things. So that it kind of snaps me out of like being so upset, because she is like, we're human, right? We make mistakes. So it's that gratitude will snap you back into like, why are you with this person? Now, granted, if you're looking at somebody you can't really be like, I'm grateful for, and you just sitting there like, I don't know what to say. Either you're not thinking hard enough, or because a lot of times there is always something to be grateful for somebody. They're doing something for you. They add positivity to your life, whatever it might be. You can always find some gratefulness in somebody else. So Yeah, I think for me when I was a kid, we didn't grow up with a lot. We didn't have a whole lot. So as I said, I always put this on my mom because my mom always like pushed this into us as like be grateful for what you have because we didn't have a lot. But I definitely like started noticing it when my father passed away and we didn't have a place to stay, so we moved around a lot. We lived in apartments, so, we stayed in hotels for some weekends and stuff like that. And then I remember the biggest thing that I always remember, and it's like a core memory for me, was when we were kids, and it was during Thanksgiving, and it was me, my mom, and my two sisters, and we're at a Denny's or something like that for Thanksgiving in the middle of the night. And I just remember I remember tears. I don't know if that's really what happened, but you know how you sometimes you build stories. But I just remember being at the table, and it was just like, I'm grateful that we have a family. Sometimes it's hard because you're like, oh, I wish we had, don't we have a house? Why aren't we having dinner with our family? But in that moment, I just remember being grateful that my mom was there with us, and she was doing everything she could to just be with us, and that's always trickled into life, looking forward. And that's why I harp it so hard on Gammy, because I'm like, you got to be grateful, but it's hard to put those things on her when she doesn't know, she and I wish that she never knows that, right? That's part of my life. Is my goal and my job is to make sure that she doesn't see the things that I see. But sometimes I do wish that she could get a glimpse, and that's why it's important, I feel to do those things, whether it be go downtown where there are other homeless people, or eventually when we have more money and more wealthy, we can go travel to other countries and see that the luxuries and the things that maybe you could consider here in Utah, or not Utah, but in the U.S. as annoying or a nuisance, are luxuries to somewhere else. And I say all that to say this is that it's important to kind of look at those things, especially because everybody has a story. Everybody's been through something when they were younger, as they're growing up and through childhood. Is to look at those things and say, okay, I am grateful because I'm not there anymore.
Yep.
Even if it was a horrible situation, even some of the things that I happened with my past relationships that were, complete and utterly destructions, and things that I wish that I could, go back and fix. And I'm like, why did I do that? I'm so dumb. But then I look at it, I'm like, well, actually, I should be grateful for that lesson. Experience, that lesson that I got out of that relationship or that experience, to say, okay, I'm a better person because of that. And that's how I've always thought of things. Like, you got it, and then you're not upset anymore. You shouldn't be upset at yourself at that point. You can't be mad that you went through it or had that decision, because you're grateful that you learned it through that way. Might hurt a little bit more than you.
I was going to say, sometimes the lessons you learn suck, and you're like, I wish I didn't have to learn it that way, but I'm grateful I learned it, period.
Right.
It's like when we went to Nassau, when we went on our cruise, got on mopeds, and we ended up in, I'm not even going to say sketchy, because I'd never felt afraid. It was just more of the culture shock, where you got people living in, boarded up houses, run down houses. There's, none of the cars in the areas were really nice cars. A lot of the area was poverty stricken. I mean, just period. But those people, the few that we interacted with around that area, I mean, we looked straight tourist. There was no doubt about it. We were tourists. And they were super sweet. They're like, hey, where are you trying to go? Like, oh, yeah, just go this way. But to see how they lived, and, we went by their school, and it's like, dang, this is the houses in the area, the way things are, I'm grateful for what I have. Then there's absolutely beautiful parts of Nassau too, don't get me wrong, but some of the spots we saw were like, all right, and like I said, I don't remember being scared per se, but I remember thinking, damn, they live this way.
Mm-hmm.
every day. Granted, the weather's nicer in Nassau probably 99% of the time. It's still like, wow, you live in a boarded up house. You can't like afford to get the windows fixed. Who knows if you're even like how much you're paying for this place, how much you're making. I mean, maybe you're working down in the markets making, and your whole money comes from us coming to your island and spending money with you. But still, it's like you're not making a killing, obviously, if you're living out there.
No.
I don't know what the people that live on the other side of the island that are driving the really nice stuff and living in the really nice areas. I don't know what they do because it didn't seem like there was much there. But again, I didn't travel a whole lot. But it's you start. I agree. I can't wait to have those lessons for myself, not only myself, but for my kids when the time's available and when I can do that stuff to say, hey, this is. Even parts of Miami, parts of San Diego, parts of all of it, we're like, hey, we got to be grateful for what we have. Like, obviously, you go to the high-end ones, and you're like, damn, it'd be nice. Could be better. Yeah. I could be better, but I'm grateful for where I'm at,
Well, even being grateful for having that dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's as simple as that, as being like, wow, like, I'm grateful that my wife... in your case, in my case as well, but, that our wives are willing to push themselves to be better. And the fact that you as a man and you as your family, like, are willing to dream bigger than what you already have. Because it's, like, we've talked about this a million times. Mediocrity is easy.
Yeah.
To say, like, I'm good. And
complacency.
Sometimes when you don't have anything to compare to, comparison is dangerous. But at the same time, it's like, if you don't have anything to look at to see, like, wow, I can get that. Like, I would like to have that. Let's start pushing. It's easy to be like, oh, this is cool. Like, we're good. Like, we have a house. We have, cars. But it's like, yeah, you'd be grateful for those things, but you can still have a dream, too, to be like, I still want more in life. You know what I mean? And so even being grateful for that. And I think all the time, like, I'm grateful that I have a faithful wife.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. No judging on anybody else, but that's just, to me, that's an important part. I have
same.
I I try to do it every single day, and I don't know where I saw this, where I heard it, but I'm like, they said, like, just wake up and just put your feet to the ground and say, thank God, like, I woke up another day. And I try to do that every morning. I wake up and I literally just, and Taylor's looked at me a couple of times. If she hears it, she'll know what I'm doing. But she'll look over, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing, just staring. And I'll literally just, my bed stares out the window. I put my feet down and I just look, and I'm like, thank you for letting me wake up and see my wife again and my kid. Because to me, I think about that stuff all the time. I've heard stories where, you just don't wake up.
Yeah.
And it's just, whatever you said the night before, whatever with the way you fell asleep, everything, hopefully you got all your, you told everybody you love them, because, you never really do know. And,
yeah.
And I don't know that from firsthand, I don't remember what I told my dad last, I can't tell you what, if I was like, I love you or anything. I don't, but, it is true. When you lose certain things, you're like, damn, like, it's grateful for those moments and those experiences. And yeah, man, it's well, let me ask you this. What's something that you, like, I guess, have been practicing? How have you been practicing gratitude? Because for me, that, like I said, I'll just do that. I'll just try to just think about it anywhere, anytime. Beyond just thinking about it, like we've talked about. Is there anything else that you've done?
So, no, for the most part, it's, we sit back and we talk to the kids mainly, and it's like, we're grateful that we can provide these things for you, or we're grateful that we can do this. Like, or we tell them, you need to be grateful that you're getting anything, like, because we don't have to buy you anything, like, so that's something. But as far as me practicing, it's usually when I'm, like I said, feeling down, mad, whatever, and I'm like, I need to change my mindset. So here it is. I'm grateful for this, and that starts the movement upwards, rather than continuing that downward, which I've been on both sides of it. And, I'll tell you, obviously, the going up's a hell of a lot easier and a hell of a lot more enjoyable than the other way around.
Right.
But just being more, working on being grateful for what I have at that moment. it's like I sit back and like we talked about, I'm grateful that I have my house. I'm grateful I don't have car payments right now. I'm grateful that I can provide what I need to do. I'm grateful my wife works so freaking hard in every aspect of her life. Even like this week where she's struggling, she's doing the bare minimum she needs to.
Right.
And I'm grateful she is able to push herself to do what she needs to do. Still hit the gym, still work, still take care of our kids. And I'm grateful for that. Like, she's got a lot on her mind. It's like we were talking about, I have a little minor surgery tomorrow, and we were talking about it, and she's like, "Oh, I guess you did tell me all this stuff." And I'm like, "I did. You got a lot on your plate, so I wasn't going to say anything bad. I wasn't going to say anything about it. I was just going to let it go." I'm grateful that she takes on as much burden as she does for whatever the case might be. Whether it's, the missing cat or the kids or the work, like, and I'll give her a hard time, like, "Oh, I think about you more than you think about me," kind of a thing. But I'm still grateful that I'm even a thought in her mind. Like, I'm grateful for what she's doing. I'm grateful for all the stress that I could try to take away from her, but at the end of the day, she has it all figured out as far as what is going on in our life. I mean, nobody has everything figured out, but she's got the bills down packed. She's got this, she's got that, she's got it all. And I'm grateful that she does that.
Right. What I think that's a good point too. Sometimes even just because you haven't lost somebody, right? And maybe this might be a weird way to think about it, but I've thought about it this way. Like, what if my wife left? Like, what if Taylor decided one day, like, all those things that you'd have to do that you don't know that she does, that'll start help building that gratitude too. Like, oh, she does too.
Yeah.
And you start like, dang, she does a lot. And she's doing a lot of different things. And yeah, it's just being that gratefulness for them. We've talked about it many times. Our wives are freaking amazing.
Yeah. I think if you take a step back from anything and you start to think of what the good, and this, we'll add challenges to the end of this, but if you step back and you start thinking about what you have, there's no way you can't find something to be grateful for. Like, I mean, even at the lowest, I was still finding things I was grateful for. I mean, in my opinion, even if you're homeless, you're still waking up every day. You still can be grateful you're alive and the lessons you learned in life. But again, you have to have that willpower to change that. You have to have that discipline, that drive. You have to have everything that we've talked about in order to change the course of your life. Because all those things have changed the course of our lives, including gratitude. Right. You have to be grateful for what you have or the lessons you've learned.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, right? It's the lens that you decide to look at life, right? Because it's easy to, if you got your gloomy glasses on and be like, "Oh, well, this sucks." But if you're looking from a different perspective, like, yeah, you woke up today, or you have somebody that loves you today, or whatever. There's always a different lens you can look at to try to find something to be grateful for. That's a good.
And I'm not saying you can't be sad about anything, but you also need to realize that that's only going to get you so far. Mm-hmm. You need to figure out why you're sad, and then decide and in my opinion, and it's helped me, make a list of what you're grateful for. I mean, hell, even if your wife and you are fighting, just text her all the things you're grateful for. Even if she doesn't fully respond with anything else, at least you put it out on the table. You put it all out there that I am grateful for all these things that you do. Mm-hmm. At least she now knows, because I guarantee that's going to change her mindset too. Whether she repeats, "I'm grateful for all that stuff too," or she just says, "Thank you," whatever it is, you've now given her something to think about.
Right.
At least the way I see it. And, the experiences I've had, it's helped. And I'm not saying that things are always bad, but, and sometimes you just need to step back when you're in a good mood and just say, "Hey, I'm grateful for this."
Yep.
Because it'll take that person and it'll connect you closer to them for whatever it is.
Well, I think it's just showing that appreciation too when they're gone. A lot of the times, and we've tried it. This is one of the stigmas and some of the things that we're trying to break, especially amongst men, right? Is giving guys and people their flowers while they're still around, because everybody praises everybody when they're gone, and they were such a great person. But my biggest thing is letting them know now, when they can still hear my voice, when they feel appreciated today. Because, yeah, I mean, it's all nice and cute when, they pass away. You're like, oh, they were such a good person. My biggest thing is I got to tell everybody I love them now and give them some sort of compliment, what I really appreciate them from now. One of the biggest things was, and I don't want to dive too much into this topic because it's not my story. 1, 2, it's touchy for me, but with Krista passing and stuff like that, like that, I've had people pass away in my life, since I was at a young age. And I mean, that was the one that I was like, damn, like.
Each one hits you different, though.
Well, it's just her energy and everything was just amazing. And I just wish that I could have told her, because one of the things about her, and this is what I talked about it when she had passed, is like, I just want to be the person like, just like her, which was like, you could walk into a room and she just made you feel like you were the best person. Like you were the only person she was talking to.
Oh yeah.
It's just that feeling that you were just like, you were so important. She made you feel so important and so wanted and loved, and you never knew what, she was always happy. And it's just like, I just wish I could have told her that. I said it after the fact, but I'm just like, I will, like, just reminds me to never let that opportunity go. And, I think about that too with my dad, because, with my dad, I'm like, I wish I could have, it's always tell people that like have issues with their parents and stuff. I'm like, just reach out. Just, even no matter what, just say your piece and just let it go. Because I remember, I know that there's a lot of things that I wish I could have said and could have done differently and laid out, like got it off my chest. And maybe, who knows what it would have done, but at least I know that I would have at least had that closure part. So I try to tell people, like, if you're upset at your parents or you're upset at somebody, especially family, just you cut it. Like, just be like, hey, I forgive. I love you. I won't ever forget, but I'm not going to hold on to this anymore, because I've seen this so many times where, parents or siblings or whatever pass away, and then you're like, oh, freak, like, why did we take, like, the whole Kobe and Shaq thing? Like, he wishes that he could take everything back and at least have a conversation with them and tell him how much he loved him, even amongst all other things. Sometimes I look at those things and I'm grateful that, my mom is still here, and I'm like, I can still have these conversations. So I've learned from not doing that. So I try to tell people, be grateful for, your parents, even though how crappy they were. If they, we all don't know what the hell to do. Nobody knows. Nobody has a handbook. Yeah. And so they did the best they could. Some of them were worse than others. And, we'll never take and diminish anybody, invalidate anybody's stories and how horrible some people are to their kids or others. But, that weight only, like, drags you down. It only slows you down. And it's just being grateful for that experience and grateful for anybody. You can find gratefulness in everybody. So,
and to your point, cutting people off is hard, but sometimes it's necessary for your mental. But at the end of the day, you can still be grateful. It's I might have my issues with my parents, but again, I'm somebody that it's I hate talking shit on people. Period.
Right. And
I usually find a way to be grateful for something that I've learned from them in some way, or grateful, and I have some issues with some coworkers and stuff, but at the end of the day, like, I still got to be grateful for the talent that they have, and I got to put aside my differences and just be grateful. And it happened this last week, and I acknowledged, hey, you're really awesome with this, so I can you help me, please? Like, I know, and it didn't need more than that. It was, I really appreciate your help. You do an amazing job at this, and can you please help me? Sometimes you have to put your ego and your bullshit aside.
Facts.
And I hate it, and it sucked to a point, but at the same time, I'm like, I need to put this shit aside because I know the talent that this person has with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful that that person is available for me to ask that help, because at that point, it got my job done. And that's another thing you got to think about. You got to think about more than just you. You know, it got my job done in 10 minutes, 30 minutes rather than 2 hours. So not only did it save me time, stress, and energy, it saved the company time and money. So I'm grateful that he was available for me to ask the help of,
And willing to help.
Yeah, and willing to help.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I have, the workplace that says, hey, if here's some stuff you can do at home while you're recovering from whatever, this or that, or dealing with this and that. I'm grateful that I learned, that they came to me to learn those skills. I mean,
and being grateful for yourself.
Yeah.
Grateful that you have the awareness and you were willing to put your ego aside.
Yeah.
That you're willing to expand out of, just yourself and say like, okay, I can ask for help. I can reach out to somebody. Maybe we don't see eye to eye all the time, but my ego's I'm in control of my ego enough that I can say like, I respect what you do. I need your help.
Yeah.
Because that's a big deal.
It is.
Like I've told you, like my ego is super inflated. So to me, like that's a big deal. Like, I could tell you, like you just saying that, like you could look at yourself. I'm grateful that I have enough awareness that I can do these things, and that's awesome, dude. That's a really good point.
Yeah, gratitude's something you need to practice, and in my opinion, you try to practice it daily. Doesn't matter what it is. Even if you look in the mirror and you just say, like you said, you wake up, you look out, and you say, "I'm grateful for another day." You need to look at something and try to be grateful. Even, maybe reach out to that friend or somebody that has helped you at some point, family, friend, something, and just say, "Hey, I'm grateful for you to be in my life. I'm grateful for this." It's.
Yeah, it's a great thing, man. And I think if people practice that more, and it's obviously something that we want to, really just continue to practice on and grow. And it's not something that you need to spend, hours on, right? I mean, if you want to spread it out throughout the day, that's fine. But really just take a minute. I mean, we all got 5 minutes throughout the day that you can, we're either on our phone, just shut your phone off for a minute and look, if it's you're mad at yourself, think of things that you're grateful for that you've done. If you're mad at your partner, if you're, struggling to understand, whatever, just take 5 minutes to be like, okay, what am I grateful for? And like I said, like you said too, if you can always find something, but if you're struggling to haven't find something, you really need to dig down and think about why you're having such a hard time finding gratefulness.
Maybe you need to start, if you can't figure something out, you need to start with yourself. Figure out what you're grateful for.
Yep.
And maybe what you're grateful for about yourself, maybe by then you can figure out what you're grateful for from your partner or your work or whatever.
Right. That's good. That's awesome. That's a good one, man.
It's like we're grateful for all of you guys that are here listening, sharing, helping us grow this. We're just trying to get the word that we feel is important out.
Yep.
And we're very grateful for you guys.
Every single one of them. Every single person. Yeah, that's true. And that's a good thing. I mean, sometimes, I've watched videos be like, oh, I only get like, 5 views or 5 likes or 5 people subscribe. And I'm like, we got, I think we're like 29 on our YouTube. I'm like, dude, there's 29 people that are listening to this. Like, I can't even, even if it was one, like, you know what I mean? One person is taking the time out of their life. They could be doing whatever. Like, I'm super grateful. Like,
yeah,
it's just, I don't know. That's just how I look at life. Like,
no, I'm the same thing. I'm grateful that we're having the opportunity to do this. I'm grateful for everybody out there listening, sharing whatever. I'm grateful. I'm grateful you hit the like button. I'm grateful you subscribed, you commented, you whatever it is. I'm grateful you did it. And anytime I post anything, I'm grateful of any feedback, whether it's good, bad, negative. I don't care. I'm grateful for the feedback. I'm grateful for the like, the share, the comment. I'm grateful for it all the help that we've gotten through, God, the last 5 years between my wife's surgeries and everything going on. I'm grateful for everything that we've had. The opportunity to go on our cruise, to provide for our kids, I mean, the list is endless of things I'm grateful for. And like you said, if you can't find one damn thing you're grateful for, holy hell, go look in the mirror and figure some shit out.
Yeah. Just go outside.
Yeah.
Just go. I don't care where you're at. Just go outside and put your feet in the grass.
You could be grateful you're standing in the middle of the 110-degree desert just that you're still alive. Just damn, be grateful for what you are, who you are.
Everything. I agree.
So what challenge you got? I think there's only really one.
Yeah. I think we're thinking of. You hit the one that you know what you're. I mean, we're all
take the time every day this week. Yeah. Write down something you're grateful for. Text someone you're grateful for.
Something. That's exactly.
Post.
That's exactly.
I think there's only one for this. Take the time every day. Spend a minute to 5 minutes writing or messaging somebody you're grateful for.
And it could be as small as, "Hey, thanks for being my friend."
Yeah.
Thanks for texting me back. Whatever.
Because I can promise you never know what that person's fully going through, and you do not know how much that message can affect someone's day. It doesn't matter. I've heard people say, "Hey, you're working hard in the gym," whatever. My wife will get a comment. I can promise you that shit like that, being grateful for somebody's hard work, no matter what, will change their day.
I agree.
Even just for 5 minutes, you've changed their mindset.
Yep.
So
I love it, man. Another great one, bro.
Yes. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. We're grateful for every single one of you.
Every single one. We love you guys. Thanks for taking the time. Like, subscribe, share it, and then just show somebody some gratitude today and for the rest of the week. So, love you guys.
Thank you, guys.
See you.